Good evening to everybody. Thank you very much for being here listening to us. This is the second program we do in this channel with our guest from Bolivia. We have here with us Noemi Paymal. Uh, Hello, Noemi. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Hello, everybody. It's good to hear from you. Hello, everyone. And again, we are going to talk about education and special abilities of the kids. So it's a very nice subject. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for everything you do. And thank you for your channel. It's great.
Thank you to you for being here. And there will be here less people than we had in the Spanish program, but I hope that at least some people will watch this program tape and then we will talk about the special abilities of kids. And okay, which special abilities? Before beginning, the ones that don't know Noemi, she is an expert in alternative education. Maybe you want to make yourself a little introduction about what you do.
Okay, a short one. So I am the founder of Education 3000 with three O's, and we start in 2001. And now we are linking 56 countries exactly. We have a lot of programs for the kids of now and tomorrow. That means with all the changes we can find in all the children, young people, and even babies. So we want to adapt education to them and their new capacities instead of doing vice versa, meaning to adapt the kids to the old education. This doesn't work. And my profession, my training is anthropology. I am an anthropologist. I am French, that's why I have a French accent, and I live in Bolivia, South America, where we have many projects right now for education, new school, even a university, a new one, and many programs for the children, the parents, and the teachers. And the
Okay,
website, we have a website in English, education with 3O, 3000.info. So you have all the material of Education 3000 in English as well.
yeah,
Just
I think I put it on the in the description.
yes,
Let me see. Education with three O's, 3000.info, right? Yeah, I
yes,
see.
yes.
There is it in English.
Mhm.
Okay, fine. Well, what you can say us? Which are the special abilities of kids that
Okay, so
grown up people don't have?
well, some of them have, but not all of them. Yes, we saw in the children many changes. We saw last time in the previous program about the new way of learning, very fast, very creative. They like nature. They work with their right brain, which is an extremely fast way of processing information. But today, I want to talk specifically about what's called empathic, intuitive abilities. Or sometimes people say highly sensitive person, or people, or children. And that's not very new, Thomas. The first book on highly sensitive person or people, which is HSP in English, is from Elaine Aron and Arthur Aron, and that's from the 19th, the year 1990, 90. And the book was called Highly Sensitive Person. And then we were thinking about adults, but we didn't realize that a lot of children now have these capacities. You can say highly sensitive, or you can say intuitive, empathic, or you can say children with psychic abilities without making a whole show on the psychic abilities. But it's true that they have special characteristics we have to know an adult and as parents and as teachers. And that's another book I want to mention about that. It's called Psychic, no, China Super Psychic or Psychics. And that's from Thomas, yeah, like you, Thomas Raphael and Paul Dong. And in these books, they were describing a lot of abilities from Chinese children. But now we did some stat with Education 3000 a couple of years ago, and we figured out that at that time, 40% of small children would present some kind of these abilities, which is sensitive, intuitive, empathic, and sometimes, frankly, psychic. So everybody would like to know, of course, what it is about. First, before we go to the psychic abilities, I want to talk about the sensitive issues. People say, oh, they are too sensitive, or they cry for anything, or they are not strong enough, or even young people or adults. They need some quiet moment, and don't they don't like noise. They don't. The skin is very sensitive, or the five senses, or they need some special attention, and they will avoid crowds and supermarket and malls. That's a trend now. So it's better to know that's normal. It's a new abilities, and it's not pathologic. It's not a disease, like some psychologists will say, no, like lack of not strong enough and stuff like that. It's actually a new capacity of the human being, and that will be the new human being emerging with that. For that, I will recommend the third book, which is A New Human Being from Mary Rodwell. I will talk already about her, and she described the new capacities of all those children and the struggle they do have in school, sometime at home, and the struggle of the teachers, because the teachers were not and are not still prepared for this big change of, as anthropologists, I would say, of humanity. You can say a big change in learning abilities, if you wish, which is quite important. So, I, for this program, I found 18 things that they can do, or the potential they do have. And I want to recall to remind you, it's not only the children. Some young people are very good at that, and some adults. And usually it's the same family. Yeah, you can have the grandmother or the auntie, the aunt, very sensitive, and you have a grandchild very sensitive. There is sometimes some correlation, some relation between that. So maybe you are one of these adults that was like that. So I want to start with the first one. Thomas, can you understand me, or do I speak too fast?
No, no, I understand you. Continue, please.
Because of the French accent. The first thing it's important to know, and we already talked about that, is called hyperesthesia. That means, I repeat, hyperesthesia. That with an H. That means all the five senses are more developed, more accurate, more sensitive, more subtle. And this is physical. So people will say, no, this is a disorder of those senses. No, it's part of evolution as a human being, more sensitive the five senses. And this is proven by many research now, and by Dr. Shishida from Japan as well. More subtle your senses outside, the more subtle they are inside, plus intuition. That means we have 11 senses in that case. So many children nowadays have that. They will say, not too much light, too much noise. No, I don't like the blender or whatever noise you may have in the house or in the street. And the clothes, they bother them, and the skin is very sensitive, and the smell and the taste. So that's called hyperesthesia. So when you see a kid with hyperesthesia, you might maybe guess that this person, this kid, or this young person may have other abilities which are more like psychic abilities. I don't like the word psychic because there was a lot of, in China, there was show on psychic kids. Then they had the show on TV with a regaler. And many kids sometimes, as they have strange or beautiful or amazing abilities, the tendency of the adult is to show off with that. We don't want that. We want the kids to be respected. We don't want any show or any kind of unrespectful attitude toward them. That's my word of caution before I start. The first thing that I would say, as I told you, 40% of the very young kids will have some of these abilities. And now it's going up because the teachers say, every year I have more kids with these abilities. For instance, I have a teacher from Spain. She had a group of children 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. And they say, this is strange. They will see beings I don't see. We had a fiesta, like a festival of spring festival, and they will see like elves, or how do you say in English, fairies, and beings like that. And they were all agree, oh yes, we can see them, her, him, and the teacher they can't see. Or they will see some strange light or strange things in the classroom, and other kids will say, oh yes, I can see as well. So these kind of things I'm talking about. And she said, this teacher, 3 years after, she has a new batch of 3 years old kids, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and she said we have more and more. Like before it was isolated cases, and now she has more than half of them, which is a lot. So that's to indicate that the tendency will be with these new generations, and the next generation, I mean the kids of this generation, definitely more intuitive, more empathic, more psychic, and more intuitive, definitely. And that's a function of the right brain. So now what we realize is that we have the left brain and the right brain, which is logical and creative brain, more in tune, and the tendency to be in alpha waves because of that. That's the new tendency. So that will mean they can be more telepathic. Now, every small kids and babies are extremely telepathic, meaning mind to mind. And we know that because sometimes they answer before we ask a question, or they know who is going to call on WhatsApp on the phone, or who is going to visit us. This is called precognition. Or they would read, this is very interesting, the emotion and the thought of the adult. For instance, one mother wants to go to the park and take the kids out. She doesn't say anything, and the kids say, oh, a very good idea, let's go to the park, mommy. And the mother just said, but I didn't say anything. So that means they read my mind. And then she said, that means they read everything from me, or I have to be clear and very focused. This is very interesting too. They won't judge you, but they can feel like your emotion and your thought. Like another story is from Buenos Aires, Argentina. The mom was very worried. No, it was the dad. The dad was very worried about the children. The children were in the car, the five children, and the car had no insurance, no money, no good incomes, and the dad was worried, but in his head. The kid behind said, don't worry, papi or dad, nothing will happen. We are safe. So the children, they capture the thoughts and the feelings at the same time. That's one of them. With telepathy, we have clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is like you can see what's happening without the intervention of the mind of somebody. So, for instance, somebody can know what's happening in your studio. Somebody can know what's behind the wall, or there is an exercise. I know a teacher was doing that. There is some school now about psychic kids, and there is some schools about extra ocular vision, meaning you can see with your eyes blindfold, which is now something I can see in different countries, especially Mexico with Noe Esperon. Noe, like Noemi, Noe Esperon. So there's many things and school for that. So anyway, there was a school and the teacher was putting different objects on the table. Then she was calling the kids, a voice call, no camera on, and she was saying, "What did I put on the table?" And the kids were saying, "You put an umbrella, a book, and a pen, and a coffee cup, or something like that." So that's clairvoyance, and they were accurate. I mean, they were right. That's interesting as well. That means we are going to go towards an intuitive education as well. The topics has a lot of consequences actually in the way we live, in the way we live together, in the way we interact, in the way we educate, and in the way we live together. These kids are opening doors to a more solidarity and more peaceful society. Because people say, "Oh, what's the point to be sensitive or to be empathic or to be psychic?" Well, you open a new door to a new civilization. That's a good point. I told you about precognition and retrocognition. Precognition, you can see what's going to happen in the future, and retrocognition, you can see what happened in the past. So some kids can say, "Oh, in that place something happened," or they can see tomorrow. Oh, that's something terrible because sometimes they say, "Oh, tomorrow, let's say the supermarket is going to be on fire." You know that there will be like a fire over there, or next week, I don't know, uncle so and so will die. So they can see the future, but sometimes they think they create this. "Oh, I put on this fire," or "I killed the poor uncle wherever." And then you have to tell them, "No, you didn't kill them, you didn't do the fire, you just anticipate the future. This is a talent you have, and don't be afraid of that. Just tell me how do you feel, and you can tell me what's happening with all, uh, I would say, safety." Because as an adult, one, we can't be afraid. Two, never say this is not true, because the poor kid, he can see or feel something, and then you say this is not true, and he thinks, so one of the two is wrong, and my mom said it's not true, so my mom is my mom, so I must be the one who is kind of cuckoo or mad. So I repeat, never be afraid, and never said it's not possible or it's not true. Just ask, how did you feel with that? Tell me more about it. That's very interesting. I will listen genuinely. And then we do some research because all of that is really true. And if you can take a class of telepathy or a class of psychic abilities, it's better even. That you can understand better even your baby. Your baby is talking to you telepathically all the time, which is amazing. I know some parents, it's the dad and the mom are completely telepathic. Between them, they don't even talk. They talk in public so people don't think they are strange. So the baby was communicating all the time with them. So that's a new generation of babies and young parents. And this is very, very beautiful. Another one I want to talk about. This is called reading through the skin. So let's say you have a piece of paper with text. I saw this. I saw some kids personally. You close your eyes or you blindfold them. You ask for permission. Do you want to do the exercise? Do you want to be blindfold? Do you want to do the exercise and show Noemi how would you do? Yes. So they blindfold the person. The kid I saw was 11 years old in Spain. And then she had a book. So in the book she was reading. The with the class the eyes are closed, remember. She's blindfold. So the children of the third millennium, comma, and so on and so on. It's like she has, or they do, all of them, like a little scanner on the skin. That's what is called reading through the skin. Or it can be another part of the body, like armpit or the feet, or here, or behind even. and she can have a scanner, and then she can read in her mind, or somewhere she can read clearly everything. So then she got tired because it was everything, word by word. So she closed the book and she said, "Oh, the book is about this and this and this and this," which is another way of reading the book. And she said about the author, and that was me, and she was right. So that's called reading through the skin, or reading an old book together. I know there is some videos on YouTube. You can check on that. It's amazing. Then another way is to read like that, but then it's another technique. Read extremely fast, page by page, very very fast, and it's called photographic memory, which is the future of the education. Photographic memory, because you can do a picture of the information. This is not psychic; it's another ability, but it's interesting to know, and it's called photographic memory. You can, in half a second, you can memorize a natural, or not memorize, I would say, do a picture of the entire text or whatever drawing or whatever design you have, and remember it. That's the function of the right brain, and it's called photographic memory, which is good to use in education. So after the skin and after the reading, another thing we have to know is astral, astral, yeah, from astral, astral projection. These kids and young people, and I know some of them personally, at will, they can go at night and go project their body in an astral way and go to some places, not with their physical body, with their energetic body. And that's something we probably all do at night as an adult. Like, and we dream and we go some places, but we don't remember very clearly, and we don't control the dream. They do. And I know several children, they told me a lot about what they do at night. And sometimes they do healing at night. That's why please don't wake them up abruptly, or like, wake up, we have to go to school. No, make sure you wake them up very slowly so they can reincorporate the body and be feel good, remember what they did, and little by little they woke up to this life. I would say real life. No, they are all real life about this earthly life. So I repeat, give them the quietest room, and don't wake them, don't wake up them, don't wake them up in a brusque way, also abruptly, but slowly and quietly. And we thank for the day, and then we remember the dream, and we talk a little bit, and then we wake up, or we get up off the bed. Psychography. A ver, psychography. Psychography is when you write, or you draw, or you make a piece of music. You have some creativity in art, and it's not really you, it's your higher self and yourself combined that will create something new. Sometimes you can write poems or even books, and it's called psychography. Or some kids, they even have better, they have direct contact with knowledge. So sometimes they know something and you ask them, how do you know? I just know. And that would be direct contact with information that would be the Akashic fields of the earth. The other one is very interesting. I like this word. It's called, I'm going to read it because it's called pragmatic psychometric abilities, or cryptasia. This is very simple. It's like, for instance, you see my lenses, my glasses. If somebody will take it, they will know my frequency, and they will know about me, and even or do damage or help me, because they would read my frequency through the object I always wear. So, what do I do with that? This cryptasia, or pragmatic psychometric. Don't touch, please, mom and teachers, don't touch their clothes and the stuff of the children, because then they are linked energetically to these objects, and they can be altered by that. An example. Are there? Hmm, I don't know if that's really the case, but an example I know of, it was 11 o'clock in the morning, but it was not linked to an object. It was linked with the love of the child for the grandmother. The grandmother fell down the stairs and hurt herself at 11 o'clock. And then at the classroom, at the same time, 11 o'clock, the kid just jumped out of the chair and was very like upset. So they called the family and they say, no, the grandmother fell, and then the kids feel it at distance. That would be a simple case of direct feeling. Or the other one is summoning, touching all the clothes and all the stuff, or be mad with the object, like, I don't know, something related to, I would say, usually it's the bag they carry to school or the clothes, and they would be alterated, and they would be upset if you touch yourself. So that means you can't clean the room of your children. Yes and no. It's better if you clean the room of your children, with the child, or ask for permission. And the child, they know. So no, sometimes it's very close to autistic trait or autistic characteristics. An autistic child, if you put your stuff here or your car or your toy, and you come back and it's over there, the word is backward. I mean, it's very upsetting. So this is the same with children, and even with some adult. We don't touch the stuff, we don't move everything, we ask for permission, and we are respectful. Oh, but it's only a child, doesn't matter. Yes, it does. This child, remember, is very sensitive. Okay. Mm, there is one, I don't know if you will like it, but I know so many cases. You know what it's called? It's called telekinesis. Oh, telekinesis is when you move the object with your mind. So this is something we can see in small children. They can move their toys, for instance, or their teddy bears, or they can switch off lamp, I mean bulbs, lights, switch on and switch off, or they can damage any kind of electromagnetic, electrodomestic items, or appliance, or clocks, or watches, or the computer, the hard disk, because they have a very high level of energy, and they can break them, but they can restore them as well. Sometimes they can repair, and they can change the time on the clock. And or the other thing they can do with this talent, I would say talent or abilities, is the plant. They can move the plant. I mean, they can change the plants and make them more healthier. Like if you have a plant that doesn't go well, you put them next to the desk or to the kid, and the plant will flourish. It's called telekinesis as well. The same with plants, animals, because then they have another talent linked to that, which is healing power. I don't want to say power, they say the healing abilities, especially in South America. So, by the simple fact they are somewhere, they would heal the atmosphere, they will heal a group, they will heal a plant or an animal. This is because their electromagnetic field, which is a torus, is much higher, is much bigger, and the energy is much higher. So by simple presence, it's called presence ability as well. Presence meaning being there, being in the room, they will heal, and at night as well. That's another ability we saw. And it's linked to another one, which is called X ray ability. X ray ability is, I know we know a case in Russia. You can type X-ray girls ability from Russia. She can see the body. She can scan the body, and she can see if there is a disease, if there is a tumor. There is some cancer or some stuff, and she can do the diagnose. And it's called X-ray abilities. I don't know that many children that can do that, but I really I know this case. And in other part, some children, they say, I know the disease, I know the emotional problem. And young people too. I knew a guy from Ecuador. He was 21 years old at that time. And he said, Noemi, this is not nice for me because I can see a person, I can see if they are sick or not, their emotional issues, their spiritual life, what they need, what they don't have, what their problem. And it's hard to talk with them. So he said, I had to cut these abilities because I wanted to have a normal life. But I want you to know that because many children and young people, they can do that now. It's a very high empathy. What else? Oh, this one, I don't know if you will like it. It's teletransportation and bilocation. That's two abilities. I don't know that much case, maybe two or three, plus on the literature, because as an anthropologist, many shamans can do that or could do that in the past, which is teletransportation, my body here, and then I move very quick, all the electrons and atoms, and I transport or teletransport the body somewhere else. And bilocation is you have two bodies at the same time. In quantum physics is called it's not called bilocation, it's called the entanglement, quantum entanglement. Like you can have two particles but they are the same one and they bilocate, so you bilocate the body. I know some adults they can bilocate, but they don't realize it's not conscious still. But I know some cases it's not so weird. So if the kids say, "I saw dad in the house," and you know the dad is in at the office, maybe the dad can bilocate. Which I know some cases, real cases. The dad was a doctor. Is a doctor. He was in the office, and the kids say, "I saw dad in the garden." The kid is not lying. Just the dad was bilocated, and he was not aware of, but the kid saw it. The next, I have a couple of more, and then we can ask questions. The other one is xenoglossy, speak foreign languages, which is quite common. I know several cases. They speak, and people too. Actually, there is some church that is called to speak in languages. They speak an ancient language or another language or a language that's not from the earth or any kind of other level of languages naturally. I repeat, this is xenoglossy, and then they can remember the past life, especially between 3 and 7 years old. They can remember, and then it just get a little bit deleted. And they can have musical phenomena, meaning two things. They can listen to music. It's called music from the angel, and you can have this music, or you can have a zombie, like a kind of sound, or you can have voices, bad and good. That's why you always ask, how do you feel with that? If it is good, great, that's the guide. If that's bad, then maybe it's not that good, and you have to see what we can do. Because sometimes, as the person is very sensitive, they can see or hear dead people and or very dark entities, I would say. Or sometimes they will say, I have a nightmare, but it's not a nightmare, it's a psychic attack. And in that case, please ask a professional or a therapist, holistic therapist, to deal with that and to make sure the house is clean of all kind of energy. It's clean physically too, and with a lot of light, with a very high energy. You know, some places are not that high, and sometimes it will interfere with the kid interaction with other realms. That's more or less what we can wait for. It's better to know about it. And as I said at the beginning, never be afraid. Maybe get some information, get some classes on psychic talents, or do yourself to take some kind of training. And always never said it's not true. Listen to the child or the young person generally, and if you don't understand it, please respect. And then there is some basic tips, like give them like natural fiber clothes, good food, not junk food, good water, good sleep moment. If the child is tired, just let them sleep if they need a nap. even if it is at school. I know some school now in democratic schools they have a place to nap or to sleep, and this is very important for them to restore your energy while sleeping. Be with nature all the time, or at least once a day. And if not, at the end of the weekend, go outside. Nature is the best for them. Positive thought, positive environment. Make sure there is no alcohol or smoking or low vibe around them. Protect the house. It's a sacred house. It's a sacred place. Make sure the environment is very clean for them. And be honest because they will capture your mind anyway and your feelings. So we are learning how to be honest and more direct and more not hiding things and be more friendly, talvez, and it's a new society they open for us. This is what I had to say for today, Thomas.
Thank you very much, Noemi. And these abilities of kids that you talked about, these 30 minutes that we are in the program, that has not always been like that, or at least not that much, right? So it's just the last years that start
Yeah.
to appear kids with this kind of abilities, right? How long we are seeing these things around the world?
Yes. It's like I would say 20 years ago we start to notice that. Of course, before we had like very famous psychic person. Now I'm thinking about Edgar Cayce. Cayce, I think in English, Case, Edgar Case and others and even great masters, and they all had these abilities. But what's really surprised me now is the amount. It's massive. It's a lot of children, a lot of young people, and it's getting more and more every year. We ask and we make some little stats in classroom and in the families, and we have more and more. So that's why we invite all adults, teachers and parents to be prepared to get acquainted with this kind of information and what to do and not to do, because this is very normal. Actually, the human being are all these talents inside. The thing is, my generation, we were cut off for many reasons, but now we are recuperating, uh, take back what we had inside, like unlock our talents and abilities. And that's beautiful because invitation is for everybody, not only the children. And with that, we have something different on earth. Hola, Tomás, me alegro de volver a verte. Hola, Juanma. In English will be I'm happy to
Juanma
see you again.
TV, muchas gracias. Tengo los otros canales o puede ver la versión en español grabada de este programa también. Nica Dorado, bienvenida, muchas gracias por estar aquí. Queremos hacer programas en otros idiomas para tener más público en otros países. We want to make programs in other languages to have more public around the world. Si ustedes ven, antes en este canal había vídeos en holandés, lo pasa que bueno, como los de YouTube siempre son tan agradables y tan simpáticos y tal, ¿no? Pues bueno, tuve que poner todo en privado, pero bueno, me lo voy a llevar a otra plataforma poco a poco cuando pueda. There were programs in Dutch in this channel, but I had to put them in private for problems with YouTube, but as soon as I can, I will put them in another platform. And a great kiss for Nica Dorado. I'm very glad. Un gran beso para Nica Dorado. Estoy muy contento de verla aquí. Y tenemos también a Yunuen. Bienvenido, no sé si tú entiendes inglés, bienvenido, muchas gracias. Bueno, perfecto, ok, thank you. Fine. What we were talking about, that it's the last years that we see this kind of phenomenon, right? Is that an indication that our planet is getting into higher dimensions? Because we talked in other program about education 5D. The coming of those kids, could it be an indication that our planet is getting into the 5D, 5 dimension?
Yeah, especially the fact about empathy and intuition and high sensibility is a proof of evolution. So when you are in a low evolution, the thing are not so sensitive. As soon as you get a higher level of sensitivity and sometimes psychic abilities, it's proof of evolution. So it's good news. And you know what, Thomas and dear friends, recently we have more than psychic kids. We have kids, it's called galactic from galaxia or galaxies kids, meaning they are in contact with other civilization. And that's very good news as well. That means Earth is getting ready to get contact. It's not a plan for this program, but actually, the day before yesterday, I talked with young people and they are contacting and contacted, and that's beautiful too. And there is a psychology, there is a woman, she's a psychologist in Chile, she speaks Spanish, and she can help you parents, and I can give you the data, the link if you want, Thomas, because she has two kids completely psychic and in contact with other beings and other level of dimensions, so she know what she's talking about and she can practically help you if you need some help. I'm talking about the psychologist Silvia Alexandra Silva from Chile. You can have this contact as well because the professional too, they realize something is happening and they get ready to. Actually, by force, because in her case, it was for her children. And that's many times, often, some professional doctors, pediatricians, and psychologists, they change, and teachers, they switch their way of doing things and even their profession as a big shift because of their own children. So they do know what's happening. They live it every day with their children, and now they are young people. And I would recommend the psychologists, and I know around you, I'm sure you have a lot of them and therapists who can handle this kind of situation. That's the good news, Thomas. Very good news.
In your kind of school, of course, this kind of kids receive all kind of help of attention. But what can be the problems that will have one of
Yeah.
these kids if it's in a normal environment, a normal school?
Yeah, because sometimes they get some attention from a psychologist or a psychist person, but that's the wrong attention because they will end up having pills and not understanding the multidimensionality of the children or the young people. So that's why I invite as well professional to change their set of mind and to have to do some research. And if you don't know where to go, you can always go to a holistic therapist and they know about that and they know how to attend it. It's a completely different approach now. And it's not a disease anyway, it's a new talent. Yeah, we are divinity. It's new connection. It's a connection mind heart. It's a multidimensional connection, and that's the great teaching of the children and the young people. And they do need help to be understood, and to have a new kind of education, a new kind of dealing together. That's a big shift. Now we have to have an education with more consciousness, more care, more human, and more loving.
Now they are just a few kids, a few people that have this kind of abilities. With the time, will more and more people get this kind of abilities until maybe one day the whole humanity can have this? Because it is said that in the remote past, in Atlantis, Lemuria, and so, all the people had telepathy and things like that.
Yeah, and talking to the animals and talking to all the realms and the plants and all that. So it was this high. And then for some reason, humanity fell down to a lower frequency. So historically, it makes sense. We are just going up again and recuperate all these talents as this was before and beyond, because now it will be more and more and higher and higher. This is the plan, and this is what many human beings we want, many imams and teachers we want deep in our heart. We want this to happen and be part of it and co-create together, and not only to witness, no, but be part of it and to create a new society, a new education, and with that everything, health, technology, new geopolitics, peace culture. And by the way, this is a university we are setting up. It's called Multi-U. We want to have all these kind of new topics and new matters and new curricula, so we can prepare ourselves better for the new world, little by little. This is what
And
the future wants to show us, I think.
do you think that this evolution that we are witnessing with these kids is thanks to the assistance of some extraterrestrial beings or um, higher dimension beings and all that kind of stuff?
Mm. This is a tricky question, but if everything is interconnected, as quantum physics would say, or we are one, or it's called the oh yeah, I don't know in English, entrelazamiento, the interconnection, I would say, it would make sense that different levels of consciousness and different civilization will interact. But it's interact. It's co-creation. It's not like we are the puppet of another civilization. We are co-constructing something with more consciousness, definitely, because we do need it. If not, this poor planet is in trouble. We were on the verge of big disasters. So that was an emergency, and I'm sure there is some help and assistance, but in a good way. And we are part of it. We are not victims, nor puppets, nor an experiment and just pour us like lab rats and, well, we do an experiment and pour you. No, 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 no. We are all part of that. You know what I mean, no?
Yes, yes. Ese Nika Dorado, en la descripción hay un link que pone versión española. Ahí hay un programa que hicimos hace, creo que tú estuviste, no estoy seguro. Habilidades especiales en... O no te veo en el chat, igual no estuviste. pero bueno, lo puedes ver grabado en español más tarde, ¿no? Ok, perfecto. Perfect. Well, uh, uh, from what age we can see in a kid that he or she has that kind of abilities?
Usually from the womb. If the mother is sensitive, when she's pregnant, she can feel because the kid will give her messages, will give her dreams, or the body of the mom will adjust rapidly to the new frequency, meaning she would have the mother a huge detox. Like everything, the body is adjusting. She will vomit and stuff like that, which is normal when you are pregnant. But if you have this kind of, I won't say special, but this kind of amazing babies in your womb, you have to be ready. So, if your pregnancy is full of strange stuff and full of adjustment energetically, this kid will bring a lot of things to you, to your family, and to humanity.
This
It's not,
kind,
yeah.
yeah. No,
When they
continue,
are
continue.
older, you can see because they will answer before you ask the question. They will see what's going to happen. They will talk to deaf people. They will see beings. They would have imaginary friends, these famous imaginary friends, and that not that much about imagination. Sometimes it's really true, and you can see these kind of things with them. In this case, we have to help them, support them.
Imaginary friends is more normal than I had also imaginary friends when I was a child.
But was it imaginary or was it real for you?
No, was imaginary, or well, at least from now, I have the idea that I made myself stories that I had friends that we lived in houses and we did things together and
But
so on.
Thomas, even if it is imagination, it's valid. It's a clue that this kid can be intuitive because imagination and intuitive may go together. In Japan, for instance, if a kid is very creative, has imaginary friends, fake or not, and is hyperactive and is dyslexic, it means for them it's a genius. So you see, this is a way of thinking I really like. This is from Japan psychology. So now we say, no, this kid is strange. And in Japan, they say this kid is a genius. Same kid, same thing.
Of course. Um,
Now all
this
the babies are going to be born in Japan. They say, okay, I want to go to Japan then. No, it's a joke.
this kind of abilities are more normal in boys, in girls, or is indifferent?
It's about the same. Geographically, I would say we see a lot of psychic kids in China, Asia, Russia, and Eastern Europe. In South America, we see more healing children, healers with healing abilities. And then boys and girls, I don't know. I didn't study. I don't see the difference. I don't want to have problem with gender in the
Look
life.
what Look what Yunuan says in the chat. We don't have kids like this in Mexico.
Oh no, a lot in Mexico, a lot, a lot. Plus Mexico now they have this method from Noe Esperon. Please type in the website Noe Esperon, VEO, vision extraocular vision, and they develop so much activities like that. But this is a training. Naturally, Mexico has a lot of these kind of kids, a lot. And usually that the kids at the constant school, they are dropped out, they don't want to go to school, they want to stay home, and they are called like trouble kids. But usually, I would say most of the case, They have this kind of kids with this kind of abilities. Yes,
Uh,
it was a lot.
Maybe they even give them medication and then it will water down these special abilities they have.
Yes, and give them a new kind of education. Not, I mean, they are very sensitive, remember. So if there is some shouting or some very strict education or the old way of educating, which is very vertical, they will suffer. And they will stop. I mean, they will disconnect and they will go inside. Usually, we have two ways. Or they go inside and they shut down and to say, oh no, this kid is autistic or this kid has some problem, but just he's closing, he's closing, I would say shut down, so he won't suffer too much. Or they become violent, or they will have kind of hyperactive attitudes to compensate. But it's not good for them. I mean, they don't. I mean, they are not happy with the way they are treated.
Okay, Daniel Ospina asks, sometimes the parents feel confusion about kids' abilities with the best way to for understand these things.
No, that's true. We have two problems with the parents. They feel confused, yes. Or the kid is a king, and I would say they overpraise the kid, or my kid is better than everybody, and this is always the fault of the teacher if something happened, and that's the overprotecting parents. Or reverse. They don't believe anything, they think the kid is crazy, don't say these kind of things, and they are afraid. In both cases, the best way for understanding these things is investigate, do your research, not believe me because I said so. Do some research on internet. Type new kids or type genius kids or type new abilities in children, and there is a lot of information now with some criteria. And then the other thing is emotional issues. If you are calm, if you are in peace inside, if your emotion are still, if you have some equilibrium in your emotion and way of living, then you help the children anyway. So what they want us to be happy and to be in peace. So at the end of the story, what we live, our attitude, what we live inside, our personal development is this what is going to help the children. And listen to them generally.
Okay, fine. In your school education 3000, what kind of special attentions are you giving? How many of these children you have, and which kind of special, what kind of special attention are you giving to them?
Well, I would say first for all the children, it's called holistic education, meaning physical movement, sport. It can be soft or hard. It can be new matter, new topics and project. It can be a lot of peace culture, emotional intelligence, and no-violent communication. A lot of arts and music, a lot of nature, a lot of doing production, like a workshop to do stuff, do your project and personal development, and that's for everybody and the parents and the teachers as well. It's called the Seven Petal School, which is integral, comprehensive. And then, if a kid is very sensitive, it's better to have small groups and to have a special care with emotional intelligence, and that the kid will have a safe environment. I mean, by safe environment, nobody will do bullying, nobody will shout, nobody will threaten them or make them afraid with too too tough attitude. So yes, you have to be aware of that, and if not, if not, I would recommend homeschooling if you can do that. I know many kids that do that. Meanwhile, the educational system will settle down and be better, and it's not bad at all. Homeschooling or diverse schooling or flexi schooling or have it's called bubble group, very small group, like 7, 8 kids, and they do all the curricula, but in small groups. So parents can get organized as well, and they can do something different if so needed. We are not victim. We can do it. Now we have many facilities legally, technically, and emotionally. We have some support and groups of parents now that are very aware of the new situation. We are not alone. That's why we did Education 3000, by the way.
Okay, thank you, Noemi. We are 1 hour. We have made already 1 hour of program. I think more or less because the other program how long it was 1 hour and 9 minutes. Yeah, because
No, we always pass the hour. And for
there
the
was.
parents, you know what? We have a new tool. It's called Portal, www.portal.info. And we put 180 short videos to help parents and teachers with practical tools and new information. So www.portal.info is very practical. And most of them are in Spanish with English translation. You can unload and help yourself. We did on purpose. It's just our last new program along with the university.
I see. It is this one. Okay. For an
Yeah.
education with peace and consciousness.
And then you
Nice.
click on this is a self mapping. So you can know what other people are doing and you can map yourself so people will know you and your needs. And then up there you can type on videos. No, up. Arriba. They say pedagogic tools. More arriba, more, yeah. You can see fun pedagogic tools, and here we put the 180 videos. So help yourself, and you can have fun. Or ask your kids to see the videos, and then they will say what they want. I want to do this one, this one, this one. Yeah, this kind of
Okay.
videos. It's very nice and very short. Thank you.
Very, very nice. Then I put here the link of this website. Um, okay, Daniel asking, can you talk about the specific stimulations according to the ages? Because yeah, you say you can see this from the womb
Yeah,
of the mother, but it's not the same. You treat a kid that is just born than maybe like 15 years old or something,
yeah.
no?
In this portal, we put by ages. So you have for primary school, secondary school, and you can have the tools. But there is a common thread or a common denominator. Always listen to them, a lot of care, a lot of love, and have fun together. So there is no age limit for that. Even for your grandmother and grandfather, you can do that. And
Well, I hear the new web uh, portal.info. Okay, fine. Um, Thank you very much. Is there something else you want to say
yes,
about? Uh,
Danielle. There is a book called Curry Vida, and this book is all about. It's all divided by ages and by cycle of learning process. Curry Vida. It's free. All our material is free on the website, so you can always get this book, Daniel. And you have specifically by age all the exercise you can do and all the stimulation you can have from art, from ecology, from sport, from knowledge, It's all how do you say how do you say divided. It's all divide per matter, per topic, and per age. Curry Vida, which is like the new curriculum. It's a big book with a lot of examples. Yeah,
Oh,
we can do
I
another
see.
program on that video.
We
There is a lot to
already.
share here, Thomas.
What you say?
There is a lot to share. We can do other programs, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Well. Perfect. Thank you. Very much.
To you.
Um. Yeah. Here are the book is in the site Pedagogia
The
3000.
second site, the P4000, 5000, the second site. All the books
Okay.
after 2020 is P4000, 5000.info.
But it was only in Spanish, 4,000, 5,000, right? Or not?
Yes, correct. Correvida is in Spanish, it's not in English
Uh,
yet. We
there
need some
is
translators. If you are volunteer, you can always call me or call Thomas. Yeah, I will
libros,
put it in Spanish.
libros, there is it, Curry Vida, okay. I give you there exactly the page where it is, Daniel. There you go. And let me see. Oh, look, there is the exact. There you have it. That's it's 400 pages. De Curry Vida, una currícula educativa integral para el tercer milenio, hacia una educación en una octava superior de conciencia. Ok, ahí te lo... There I give it to you, Daniel. And fine. Well, then we will make more programs because we have to talk about your university
Yes,
and
yes.
and so you for you on Thursday is good to make other programs.
Sorry?
Uh, to make other programs is good for you on Thursday, or you
Oh,
don't
thank you.
care?
No, no,
Thursday?
no.
No?
In Spanish, in English, at least.
Yeah, sí, vamos a hacer otros programas en español, pero el próximo hacemos en español sobre tu universidad, ¿no?
Super.
Pero ¿cuándo te va bien? ¿En jueves o te da igual el día de la semana?
A veces, bueno.
Jueves. A ver, por ejemplo, podría ser... ¿Cuándo podría ser? El jueves 6 de octubre a la misma hora que hoy.
Sí,
Sí,
de las
vale.
18.
O sea, serían las 6 de la tarde para ti, ahí en Bolivia.
It's very good for us.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much, Noemi. We will finish here. For the people that has been watching us, please follow Noemi on her social networks. Go to her page, education3000.info, her YouTube channel, Education 3000 in different languages, her Facebook page, the new site portal.info, and there you have another program we did together in English also, Education 5D Education. And yes, you have also programs in Spanish. And well, for our Spanish language followers, we will have another program in my channel Thomas Klaus in about half an hour. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye bye. Take care.